you search for Bootstrap 5, like this, Bootstrap 5, and you click on the first link. And the latest version, I click on this, and you see the second line over here. It says include in Bootstrap CSS and JavaScript. I want you to copy this thing here. So if you haven't done this already, please copy it, and then go to your file, VS Code, and you can paste it there. So that's how you include Bootstrap to your systems. And today I'm going to be sharing a PhotoBlog website. So I'll show you how it looks. We'll make a website looking like this. So this is how the website's going to look. I hope my screen is visible. And you can see that there's a nav bar on the top, like this. And then there's a small search function here. It doesn't work. It's just for show. And the website's going to be like this. We're going to have 9 pictures, and it's going to be in a grid system. And what you can do is you can obviously customize the pictures, and you can write your own name at the top. And what you can do is you can see that if the screen becomes small, then this website automatically breaks. Like you can see now, it's broken. So now there's only one picture in a column, and you can see it's centered. So we're using lots of CSS to make this happen, CSS and HTML. And if it's big, then it's working again, like this. There's 3 in a row, and over here, there's only 1. So this is very responsive. It's a good looking website, and we can host this as well. So you're gonna be able to post it on the web, and you can, like, your parents and everyone else can see it as well. So in the end, I'll show you how to host it, and I'll show you what we're using. Today we're using Bootstrap. Please go online, search for Bootstrap 5. Click on the first link. Click on the latest version on the right. Go down, and this one over here. You take this and you copy it, and you paste it as an HTML file. You copy this, and you paste it in your HTML file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my basic HTML file with you. And you're going to use this HTML file to do the work. 1 second. Okay, so I've sent a file. This is, as you can see, it's a text file. I want you to download this, and I want you to take it to your VS Code folder. So I'll just share my screen. I'll show you how to do it. I hope you can see this is the file I've sent in the chat. I want you to copy all of this like this. Control C, I'm copying it. And then in my VS Code, I'm going to paste it inside of a new file, like this. So now you can see I have this file here. It's the same file I just showed you. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename this file to have a .html. So now you can see that this is an HTML file. Oh, sorry. I'll just send it again. One more time. 1 second. I think I sent it to someone else before. I've sent this file. I want you to open this file, and I want you to copy the HTML here. And then you can paste it inside of your own file in VS Code. And just rename this to have a .html. If you've done till here, please type in the chat that you finished. So you should have this sample HTML with you. It's very simple. It just has 9 images, and it has one H1. That's it. This H1 will have your name. If you need help, please ask. Was everyone able to do it? Because I don't see any responses. Um, Okay, one person's done. That's great. I'll wait for a few more. I'll just wait for one more minute. I'll wait for everyone to finish. So I think everyone's done. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how we're going to make our website. So remember yesterday, we learned uh, about Bootstrap and we learned about the basic system of Bootstrap. I'll just show you. First, we learned about Bootstrap containers. We learned that everything we want to put inside using Bootstrap, we need to use a container, a div with a class of containers. We're going to do that now. And I'm going to show you one more thing. Instead of using container, I'm using container fluid. So I'm going to use a div and I'm going to give it a class of container fluid. You can see that there's many classes. I'll show it to you on Bootstrap docs. I go to the docs, I search for container. And you can see that there's one on the bottom called container fluid. So this is what I'm going to be using today. And you can see that it has always 100% width everywhere. Like over here, the width changes. You can see the width's changing for all these screen sizes. But for us, this has 100% width every single time. So that's what we're going to be using. So please make a div with a class of container fluid like this. And you're going to put everything inside of that. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to put it inside of that. I'll open up the file. So this is how your file should look. I hope it looks like this. You can see that all of these images are not the same size and they look very bad. We haven't made it into a grid system. You can see this. I hope you all have it like this. Please raise your hand if you have any doubts. So no doubts, I'm guessing. So we're going to continue on. I'm going to open this up again. And now I'm going to put all of the images in a row. So yesterday we decided that we're going to put everything in a row. I'm going to make a row here. And inside of each row, I'm going to make a column. So in this website I showed you, how do you make a container? Okay, wait, I'll show you. All you do is you write a div. You make a div here, right? div, div, press enter. And then inside of this, you write class. Class equals container. I just type container here, container. Container dash fluid. We're going to be using a fluid container. So like this. And then inside of this, I'm going to put everything. All of my images and all of my H1s. Oh, this is visible. So I hope you have code looking like this. You can look at my screen. You can just check it once. I have a div with a class of container fluid. Inside of that is my code, the code I shared with you. And these are just comments, so we can delete them. So it looks like this. I hope you have this. Please type in the chat if you have this. Okay, perfect. 2 people said yes. I'll just wait for a few more. If you have any doubts, please ask me now. This is the only HTML we're writing. Okay, so I've seen 5 or 6 people say yes. I'm going to continue on. So now this is our file, right? And we want the file to look like this. We want it to look like this. This is our current file. You can see. So first thing you're going to notice is that each of these have 3 images in a row. You can see this is the first row, this is the second row, and this is the third row. And each of the rows have 3 images. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 3 rows. Go back to your VS Code and make 3 rows here under the H1. And how do you make a row? You make a div. Inside of the div, you write class equals row. Div with a class of row. So I want you to make 3 of these. Like this. And we're going to put 3 images inside of each row, like this. So this is the first 3 images that are going to be in a row. And I'm going to put the second 3 like this. Copy it. Paste it. And the third one, copy, paste. Now you can see what I've done. Does anyone have any doubts? Please raise your hand if you have a doubt. Or message me. Please raise your hands if you have any doubts. I'm going to show you this code. Your code should look like this, something similar to this. Are there any doubts? And you can type in the chat if you have any doubts. This is all a recap of what we learned yesterday. We learned about rows, and now we're going to make columns. Like, I'll show you the PPT I showed you yesterday. One second. See, you must have at least one div with the class of row, and each row has 12 units. And inside of this, each row should have 1 or more columns. And by default, every column occupies the same space in the row. Okay, so there's no doubts. I'm going to continue on. So now I'm going to make 3 columns. One image will have 1 column. Basically, 1 column, 1 image. So I'll make a div with a class of column. And I'm going to put my image in there. Like this. So you can see, we have to do this 9 times. So it's just like this, very basic. So just continue, just do it for every image. Make a div, class of column. And I paste it in there. Like this. So just do this quickly. And if you want a shortcut way, what you can do is you can type dot and then the name of the class. Like if I want a class of column, so I can write dot col. And I press enter, and you can see it's already made a div with a class of that same thing. So you can try that out. Dot col, enter, and I get a div with a class of that, what I typed, called col. So please do this. So now I hope you can see that I have a container. Inside of the container, I have an H1, and I have 3 rows. 1, 2, 3. 1 second. Yeah. So 3 rows, 1, 2, 3. And inside of these 3 rows, I have 3 columns. 1, 2, 3. And each column has 1 image. So now if we go back to our file, this was the file that we had. If I reload, you're going to see it looks the same, basically. And you think that nothing has changed, right? But now what we're going to do is we're going to give each image a width of 100 pixels. So for that, first I'm going to link a CSS file. So over here, after my bootstrap, I'm going to write link :CSS. And I'm going to link the file. I'm going to name it starter.css, okay? And then I'm going to make a file called starter.css. I already have one. I'll delete it for you, and I'll make a new one. In the same folder, I'm making a file called starter.css. Starter.css, like this. And inside of this, I'm going to give each image a width of 100 pixels. So now if I reload, you can see that each of these images have a width of 100 pixels, and look at that. They're all center aligned, and they are equally distributed in the website. I hope you can see this. So all we've done is inside of our layout, you can see that we have 3 rows. Inside of the 3 rows, we have 3 columns. Each column has an image. And once I give the image a width, suppose I make it 300 pixels, you can see that they have divided up like this. And if I inspect my website, if I inspect this, if I inspect the row, you can see that this is the row. And inside of that 3 columns, look at this column, this column, this column, this column. So I hope this is visible. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make our images. We're going to make our images more centered. We're going to make them look better. So we're going to go back. First we'll add the nav bar. Okay. So I showed you how to add anything you want from Bootstrap. You can just go to the website, Bootstrap website. I search Bootstrap 5. I go to the latest one. And in the search bar, I search for nav bar. If I want a nav bar, I'm going to search for nav bar. And I'm going to copy the one I like. So in the solution, I'm using this one. You can see. So same thing, I'm going to copy from here. You can see this looks very similar. There's the search, and then there's the search field here. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go to my file. I'm going to paste it on top. Above the container, I hope you can see here, there's a comment as well. Insert nav bar here. Under that comment, I'm going to paste it. You can see I'm pasting it. I've pasted it. And now you're going to see we have a nav bar on the top. I hope this is visible. I hope you all have this. Please type in the chat, we have this as well. Perfect. You guys very quickly have a nav bar as well. That's perfect. So now what we're going to see is we're going to remove the stuff we don't want. So I'll show you how my website looked. You can change it as well. Like for me, I wanted this to have PhotoBlog on the left. Over here it says nav bar, so I'm going to change that. Like the name of this website can be PhotoBlog, or it can be anything you want. So I'm going to search where they say nav bar in the starting. I'm going to make it PhotoBlog over here. Next, I had 2 links. I had one link called sign up, one called login, and a disabled one called leave a review. So this looks like a normal looking website. So what I can do is go to my this thing, VS Code file. Click on the first one. I make this sign up. What website did I use for the navbar code? 1 second. It's called bootstrap.com. Go to this one. Wait, it's not a link. I'll share the whole link. This is the website. I copied it from here. This is the link. Where was I? Yeah. So for the nav bar, I'm gonna make this one a sign up. So if I reload, you can see this says PhotoBlog. This says sign up. So we're pretty close. This had a login and a leave a review. So let's do that now. Let's go back to our VS Code. And for the next one, it says link. Instead of that, I'll say log in. And then there's a drop down here. You can see I didn't use it, so I'm just going to delete the entire thing. And then over here, the disabled one, I'm going to say leave a review. So now if we reload, you're going to see that the nav bars look similar. Look at this. The one on this is the R code, the white one, and this is the black one. You can see they look the same. These both look the same. I can click on them as well. They're all clickable. And you can see that the HTML changes. So if I click on login, you can see there's going to be a hash sign after the HTML right there. Same way over here, if I delete this, oops. If I delete this and I click on login, I find a hash sign. So that hash is because of our nav link. If you open up, you can see that because of our nav link, we have a hash. Like over here, href. Instead of that, if I change it, I remember telling you before, you change it to whatever you want, a random thing. Once you click on it, it takes you there. Like if I write /tacos, it takes me to /tacos. I hope you can see that. So for now, I'm not going to change it because this is just dummy. I'm going to leave it as a hash sign. Perfect. So now we're done with the nav bar. And one more thing you'll notice is that if you scroll down, the nav bar disappears. See, if I scroll down, the nav bar is gone. What we want is we want the nav bar to be at the top. You can see in this website, it's at the top. And for that, there's a class. So I'll just tell you the class right now. It's in the PowerPoint as well. Add a class called sticky top to the nav bar to ensure it sticks to the top as we scroll down, okay? So if I go back to my VS Code, I go to my main nav bar. This is the nav bar, right? And I write sticky top, sticky dash top in this huge nav bar. Then you'll see what happens. If I reload, you can see it sticks to the top. I hope you can see this. And one more thing I want to show you is that if you change this to fixed top is also a value. Then if you reload, you can see that the H1 is disappearing. Why is that? Because this navbar is hiding the H1. You can see that the H1 is being hidden by this navbar. So that's why what I'm doing, I'm making it sticky top. Otherwise, the H1 would just disappear. We don't want that. So go back to my file and I make it sticky top. Now if I reload, you can see that it's working. And there's that. And I'll just show you, like if you just read the docs, you can see that they've given us everything. Like if I search sticky, I see sticky top. And you can see placement, it's under placement. So you can see, you can change it if you want. You can test all of these yourself, you can change them. If I make it sticky bottom, it's gonna stick to the bottom. I'll show you. Or if I make it fixed bottom, make it fixed bottom. You can see that now it's at the bottom. I hope this is visible. It's on the bottom over here instead of at the top. So, but we don't want that. We want sticky top. So I'm just going to change it back to sticky top. And all of this I got from the Bootstrap docs. So if you ever want to learn something for the nav bar, for example, just go to the docs. You can see all kinds of stuff. It's written on the top right-hand side as well, like color schemes, placement, scoring, responsive behavior. You can learn about all of this. Anyway, I'm going to continue on. This is our nav bar. This is how it looks. Next, we're going to be styling our image. So I'm going to write my image styles in my CSS file. Okay. 1 second. I open this up, open up my CSS, and instead of width 300 pixels, I make width 100%, for example. Now let's see what happens. Oh, now you can see that these images are very big. And what they're doing is they're taking up 100% of our column width. Like this is the column. I hope you can see there's a small bit of green area there. That's the padding. And then after that, we just have an image. Image is taking up 100% of width. So that's what we're going to use because our columns, they don't have any other content. You can see here, it's just one image. So that's why I'm giving image width of 100%. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to aspect ratio. You can put any aspect ratio you want. Suppose I try 16:9. This is very common. Now you can see that this is 16 width and 9 height. So you can see the images are very stretched. I don't like this. After trying and testing, I found that I like 16:14 more. So you can see this is how 16:14 looks. But if you like 16:9, you can use that. And you can also use 1:1, which is basically 16:16. It's the same thing. You can see now it's a square image. So if I inspect it, I can see that they're the same pixels. 544, 544 over here. And if I make it a different aspect ratio, like 16:9, you can see that now it's changed to 544 and 306. So the height is only 306 pixels. So for me, my favorite is 16:14. 16:14, you can see. I like this one, so I'm going to use this. You guys can use a different one if you want. Next one I'm going to do is, that's what we have to do. Yeah. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up my columns and my rows. So what I'm going to do is we go back to our code that we've written. You can see that all of these, they have a class of column, right? Over here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change all of these classes of the column, and I'm going to make them column/md/4. So you can control F on the right-hand side. You say it says column. you click on this arrow, and you can see there's replace here. I'm gonna write column/MD/4. So enter. Now I've done it with all the columns. Don't change this, like collapse. This part, it has a column, but don't change that. Only these 9, column-MD-4. I hope you can see this. You can do it manually as well if you don't want to risk it. You can see that all of these are now in a column-MD-4 class. If you've done this, please type yes, because we need to do something very important now. I'll share my code. This is my code. You can see instead of column, it's column/MD/4. Right now, only one person has done it, so I'm gonna wait for a few more. If you want me to say it again, if you want me to tell you again, please ask. Please type in the chat or raise your hand if you have any doubts. Any doubts? Does anyone have any doubts? Because there's only one person who's done it, according to me. Oh, perfect. One more person has done it. If there's any doubts, please let me know. I'm continuing on. So now, if we go back to our website, you can see that it looks exactly the same, but you're going to notice something cool is that if you click inspect element, Control-Shift-I, and then over here, if you make the screen smaller, you can see that they've stacked over here. Right now it's 3, but if I change the pixels, if I change it to 767, you can see that they've stacked our website. And if it's everything smaller than 767, so 767 to like this as well, it's just stacked. It's not in a row anymore. You can see, once I cross 767, you can see they split up again. So I hope this is working for you as well. This is what we're going to be using. So for small screens, we don't want to show 3 in a row because it's going to be very cramped. That's why we're doing this. That's why we're doing this. We're stacking them. So once the screen becomes very small, we start to stack it. So this is how you stack it with this class, column-MD-4. And you can always go to Bootstrap and you can check it out, this class. So next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give them, since I know that there's only 3 rows here, like this is their normal website, right? I know that there's 3 rows here, like 3 columns here, sorry. And now I'm going to give them equal margin. Like right here, you can see it doesn't look that good. I'm going to give all of these images a margin. So how do I calculate that? I'm going to count. You can see on the left of this image, there's 1 space. We'll give this size of 1. And then on the right of the image, there's going to be 1 space as well. So I'll give it 1 here as well. So 1, 2. And then left for the second image, 3, 4. Left for the third image, 5. Right for the third image, 6. So you can see that there's 6 spots we need to divide. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my CSS. I'm going to write .call/MD/4. This is for classes. Remember, I have a class of .call MD4. I'm going to write .call/MD/4. And I'm going to show you the code I wrote. Max width 30% and margin. I'm going to give it a margin. So 1 second. If I give max width 30%, let's see what happens. You can see that these images are now squished with each other and there's a bit of free space here, right here. I hope you can see that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give each of these columns a margin of 10%, since we have 3 of 30, so that's 90%, and then 10% here. So 10% divided by 6. Remember how we got 6 the start? All right, 10% divided by 6. Now let's see what happens. You can see that nothing changed. So apparently it's not working, right? Well, so actually it is working, but we're just missing one crucial part. So over here, like 10% by 6, CSS is not able to understand what this is. It doesn't know what it means. But if you write calc in front of it, CALC, with few brackets, like this, calc, you can see that it's highlighted. So now it says it's a shorthand property. You can see over here, there's some information given on it as well. Now if I reload, now you can see that they're perfectly evenly spread out. I hope this is visible. If I go to my inspect element, you can see the margin here. They're all equal. And now you see there's some green part as well. We're going to remove that in just 1 second. So if I go down, 1 second, I have to make the screen a bit smaller. If I go down, I can see that there's padding here for this, padding for this as well, padding for this. It's for every column. I hope this is visible. Padding here. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove the padding as well. Padding 0 pixels. That's how you remove it. Now if I reload, you can see the images are a bit bigger. And each of these columns, they don't have any padding. You can see that there's no padding. All it has is the margin. That's what we want. I hope everyone's reached till here. Any doubts? This is my code. This is the CSS I've written. This is the CSS. This is the HTML. Please type down in the chat if you've reached here. Okay, I found one person. One person's completed it. I'll wait for the others. Great. I see 2 or 3 people have finished. I'll just start. I'll continue in 1 more second. Perfect. So lots of people have finished it. I'll continue on. Next is the navbar styles. We've already covered this. It's just one style, one class called sticky top. You can see that we already have that. So if we scroll down, the navbar is sticking to our top of the screen. So we can continue on as well. Next, we're going to style the H1. So you can see this H1 over here. It has my name. For you, it's going to have your name. You can write your name there. And I've written quite a lot of styles for this. So I'll just explain to you what each one of them is. So first one, it says text transform uppercase. So I'm going to go to my file. I'm going to write H1. Since I only have one H1, I can do it like this. This is called element selecting. Yeah. I'm going to write text transform uppercase. Now let's see what happens. Now you can see that this is uppercase. Despite the text not being uppercase, we can see that this has uppercase for us. This is using CSS. This is the text. You can see that it's not uppercase. But over here, it's uppercase. So using this property, you can transform the text. And there's lots of variations. You can see that there's lots of variations popping up, like lowercase. If I lowercase it, now everything's small. Like my first letter, last letter is also small. So I'm going to keep it as uppercase. Next, I'm going to cover font weight. We've already covered this. HTML styling, font weight. I go here and make font weight. You can see there's only in terms of 100, from 100 to 900. So font weight 600. So I reload. And now you can see that this font's very bold. If I inspect it and I go to the element, this H1, I click on it. You can see it has font weight 600. If I remove this, if I add this back, you can see it becomes darker and bolder. So that's what we want. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to give it a font family of Verdana. So this is just font family. It's just like a type of font. Click on font family. You can see there's lots of options. For me, I liked Verdana, so I'm going to use that. But you can use a different one as well. Like if I use Arial, if I reload, you can see the font changed. I hope this is visible. For me, I'm going to use Verdana. I'll save this. If I reload again, reload, you can see it changed again. So this is what I want to keep it like this. Next, I'm going to give it a margin of 0 pixels and calc 10% by 6. So let's see what that means. I go back, 0 pixels, 10, calc 10% by 6. Let's see what this does for us. If I reload, now you can see that our H1 is in line with our files, like with our images. I hope this is visible. It's shifted to the left a bit over here. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a margin top of 20 pixels. So now first I remove the margin with the margin class, and I'm going to add it again. Like over here, this does it for top and bottom. And then this does for left and right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a margin top of 20 pixels. I reload. Now you can see that on the top, there's the margin of 20 pixels. How to make the corners of all the photos rounded? We're going to cover that. That's a good question. We're going to cover it very soon. So, and finally, I'm going to make the font size 25 pixels. I'm going to change the font size. So all of this we've covered before. Like this. Now this is the H1 I wanted. And this is how I styled it. 1 second. On this website as well, it's the same styling. I hope you can see that. Right, perfect. So next. Oh, you want to repeat? Okay. 1 second. Just tell me which part you want to repeat, Sid.
Just the rounded photo thing.
We didn't cover that. We're gonna cover that soon.
Okay.
Thank you. So we can continue on. This is our H1. We styled our H1. Next, what we're gonna do is we're gonna make it responsive for a bit. Like if you can see, once you shrink this down. I'm sorry, 1 second. Yeah, if you shrink this down, you can see that this is not changing now. All of a sudden, it stopped working. Like, remember, it used to be under 700. It used to work. Now it's not splitting. And that's because we've already added so many classes here that now it's always going to give us max width of 50, like 100%, like 30%, sorry. You can see here. Even if it's like this, very small, if I go to the columns, I go to this column, you can see it says max width 30% here. If I remove this, then now it's breaking. So now we need to fix this. So using media queries, we're going to fix this. So what I want is you make a media query with the width of max width of 676, like 767 pixels, right? So I go back to my this thing, like CSS, right? @media max width 767 pixels. This is the syntax. And then I'm going to give for every medium MD4 column, I'm going to make it a max of 90%. And I'm going to change the margin, as you can see. So dot call MD4. This is CSS now. Now we're writing CSS inside of the media query. I'm going to make it a max width 90%. And then a margin. Suppose I give margin of 20 pixels and 20 pixels to start. Okay. Now let's see what happens. Now if I reload, you can see that now it's stacking again. It's working properly. So if I click on this, you can see in the bottom that it has a margin of 20 pixels on all sides. And there's some extra space here, like this white spot, this white part. We're not able to touch it. So now what we want is we want to center the element. And to do that, what we can do is we can write 20 pixels in auto, right? So now the images will be centered. I hope you can see that. And there's another way we can do it as well. Since we know that this is taking 90% of the screen, we can write calc. And now we need to check, like, how many spaces are there? There's one space on the left and one space on the right, right? So now what we need to do is we need to make divided by 2, because there's 2 sides. One on the left and one on the right for each image, for each column. One image, one column. This column here. one on the left and one on the right. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna calculate, we're gonna divide it by 10%, 10% by 2. 10% divided by 2. If I reload, okay, 1 second. This is not changing for some reason. Are we missing something? Up, down. If I make it 10% divided by 4, it's not gonna help. This should not be the reason why it's not working. I think we have to write some more code for it to center perfectly. So we're just gonna continue on, okay? Because this is the code that we need to write, center our this thing. Next, what we're gonna do is we're gonna give H1 the same margin as we gave for the columns. I'm gonna write H1 here. I'm gonna give it the same margin, like in the starting, like over here, remember? Over here, I gave it 0 pixels and then calc. So I'll do that here. Calc instead of 10% by 6, it's gonna be 10% by 2. And then I'll give it a margin top of, let's assume 20 pixels. So now we're gonna debug. We're gonna see why this code is not working. Technically, it should be working for us, but now it's not. So let's see why is that happening. So if I inspect, like this. This is how it looks on the phone. I'll just reload once. Inspect again. Yeah, now you can see that this is being centered. So I think our styles weren't being applied. Now you can see that they're being applied, and you can see that this is centered. So look at our screen. It's perfectly centered. If I make it 50% and I increase the size, you can see it's still centered over here. Look at this. They have the same margin, like for each column. You can see that's 37 pixels, left and right. And top bottom, it's 18.5, 18.5. So instead of that, I can just, instead of making calc by 4, if I make it like, suppose 100 pixels, it's gonna be very big, but you'll see what happens. Now you can see that each of these columns have 100 pixels margin. If I go down, I can see that there's 100 pixels margin. 1 second. For this one, yeah, you can see 100 pixels margin. 100 pixel top bottom and 37 pixels left right. So you can just change it to whatever you want. If I want 20 pixels, I can make it 20 pixels. Like this. Now that looks like this, it looks pretty good on small screens. And this is breaking at 767. So if I go 767, now it's breaking. If I go 766, it's like this. So once it hits 767, it starts looking like this. I hope this is clear. Please check your own code and make sure that it's working as well. If you have any problems, please tell me now. Any doubts? Please tell me if you've typed what I've written. I'll show it to you once more. Using media queries, we're going to change the margin and the max width. In fact, you can look at our solution CSS. It's the same. Like this. So basically, media queries, I'll show you. In fact, I made a PPT for that as well. I think it was this one. Or wait. I think it was this one actually. Yeah, so media queries, basically, like if you have a website like this, and like if you shrink the page down, like if I inspect and I shrink it down, you'll see that this is changing. So the reason why we have media queries is that sometimes when we make websites, like suppose I don't have media queries, for example, just if I don't have media queries, if I make a website, in the starting, all the websites we used to see, they were on desktops and laptops that were all the same size. But now, like, we only have one website for all kinds of screens. Like, even for small phones, like, we use the same website. Like, if I go to on a phone and I go to youtube.com, like, if you go to the website version, not the app version, then you're going to see that they all use the same website. And now, using media queries, what we can do is we can change and we can customize the experience we give. So if there's small screens, we want these images to be small. Like, if you go, for example, if I was on an iPhone, this is how I'd see it. It would be very hard for me to see it because all of these images are very small. Like on the iPhone, like if you open up your iPhone and you see it, it's going to look very bad. Now, instead of that, if I use media queries like this, now you can see that all of these images are breaking up and they're all 500 pixels. So once we host our website, this is going to be hosted. So once you go to your iPhone and you click on that, you're going to see that this changes. So that's why we use media queries to change how our website looks for different screens. So I hope you've completed it. So here, this was all that we had to style. Now I'm going to show you how to add borders, like make our image rounded. So if I want to do something extra, like if I want this to be rounded, all I can see is how to make image rounded in Bootstrap. You can see on the top, how to make image round in Bootstrap. Go to this. Over here. You can see I give it a class of rounded. And that's how you make the image rounded. And one more thing you can do is if you don't want to use Bootstrap, you can do it in CSS. I go to this first website. Use the border radius property to add rounded corners to an image. 50% will make the image circular. So if I go back to my code, I make it border radius. You can see over here, border radius. And if I make it 50%, for example, if I reload, you can see now that all of these images are circular. But 50%, that's too much for us. We don't want that. So what I'll do is instead of 50%, if I make it 10%, for example, now you can see that they're a bit more rounded. So in this one, I think it was 5 or 10%. You can inspect it and we can check. Border radius 5%. So I'll try 5%. And now you can see that all of our images are rounded. Like the corners are rounded a bit. So this is how you do it. You use class border radius. Border radius property in CSS. This is to create rounded images, to give rounded corners. And if we inspect this, we can see that this has a border. It has 0 pixel width, but the radius of the border is 5%. And that's why this is rounded. If we remove this, you can see it becomes normal again. If I change this to 50 pixels, you can see it's become circular. I hope you can see that. So we're trimming away the parts that we don't want. Like if you see, click on this, you can see that the parts cut out. It's not that it's shrinking into a circle. We're trimming it away. I hope this is clear. Next, what we're gonna do is we're gonna give the entire website a dark theme. So basically, mostly 90% of the website's done. And now we'll just give it a dark theme. So if you can look at this website right now, it's light mode. But if I want to change the entire thing to dark mode, yesterday I told you, you just go to your website, HTML, and over here you write data dash bs dash theme equals dark. If I reload, now you can see that all of this is dark. And what I'll do is now you can see the the nav bar is light, so we don't want that. So what we can do is we can go to our nav bar and we can remove this class bg-light. That gives it a background color. And now you'll see that it looks like this. So this is how it looks. And this is how our normal website looks, like the solution one in the starting. So over here, we can see that this has a background color of bg-body-tertiary. So that's what we can try. We can give ours as well. bg-body-tertiary. Now if I go back, you can see right now it's transparent. If I reload, now it's going to have a background color. So I hope this is visible. And technically, you should have completed the website as well. If you have any doubts, please ask. Do you have a website with you as well? And after this, we're going to have a quiz after we host our website. 5-10 minute quiz, like last time. A CSS and HTML quiz. If you have any doubts, please ask. Okay, one person's done it. If you have any doubts, please ask me. I can go through it again. One more thing I want to show you is that look at the screen, like look at the nav bar. You'll see that the nav bar collapses. 1 second. Okay. Yeah, you can see over here that you can see all the links here, but the second I scroll down a bit, it's collapsed into this. So this was done using Bootstrap. Over here it's full, over here it's collapsed. So that's why we want to use Bootstrap, because we can give our users a good experience when we make our websites. Hope all this is clear. And I can just check the solution CSS, can see if I've missed anything. Like all of this looks the same. Same here. Row with a margin of 0 pixels. We didn't write that. I think we should write that now. Let's just see what happens. If I reload, let's see what changed. I go to my website. If I remove this, you can see that the images shrink a bit. So if I put this back, then the images small, they become smaller. So that's what I've used. And if we don't have this, then if I make the image big, I think there'll be problems. If I make the screen size big, now you can see this has changed. And now if we make it 0 pixels, they become smaller. So that's what we're doing. We're just making it a bit smaller. That's what I used. I made margin 0 pixels for the row. And if there's anything else, nothing else, I think. That's all. Does everyone else have a website? Because only one person said it's completed. So if you want any help, please ask me now. If you want me to repeat anything. If there's any specific portion you need help with. Oh, one person more, one more is done. 2 people, 3, 4. Oh, perfect. Lots of people done. So now I'm pretty sure you're going to be very excited to know that right now, you can see this website, it's a local file, right? It's not an actual website. Like if I go to youtube.com or Google or whatever, it's not an actual website. Like you can't open this on a different device. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to host this. So like if you want to share this with your parents or your grandparents or someone in a different city, they can go to a URL and they can open it up as well, like this. They go to the URL and they open it up. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the website where you can host this. So you can show it to all your friends. And what you need for that is an email address. So if you need to have an email address open on your computer, I need to have access to that, okay? That's what I'm telling you right now. 1 second. I'll share my screen. I'll just open up the website and I'll start it up. Okay. So first thing we need to do, I hope you can see my screen. Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen? Perfect. So first thing you need to do is you need to go to the place you've made your stuff, like your file. So I'm going to go reveal in File Explorer. This is the website I made, starter.html and then start.css. I'm going to copy both of these, Control C. I'm going to take them out, Control V. I'm going to make a new folder, okay? Over here, I'm going to make a folder. host website. I'm going to put this both in there. Control X, Control V, Control X, Control V. So now you can see that I have this in here, my HTML and my CSS. And if I open this up, you should see that it's working. Like the styles are still there because the styles that I wrote, they were in the same file. Like this HTML and CSS were together, like over here in the href. So now your styles are working. Please make sure your styles are working. Right now they're working. I'm going to go back to this folder. This folder I just made. You can see host website. I'm going to right click on this. Wait, before I right click, I'm going to go back to my HTML file and I'm going to rename it. So I want you to right click on the HTML file. I want you to click on rename over here. I want you to write index, INDEX. That's it. Just write index and press enter. So now you're going to have a file named index.html. I hope you have this with you. That's all you need to do. You don't need to change anything else. Just change the name of the file to index like this. Looks like this now. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert to a zip file. Okay. Compress the zip file. Please click on this option. I'm going to name this as zip website. Zip website. It's not done it. I've made it a zip file. Please, everyone confirm that you've done this. Everyone has a zip. A zip file. If you want me to show it again, please ask now. What I did, okay, one person said yes. I'm going to show you one more time. First, I made sure that my HTML and my CSS were together in one folder. Then what I did was I renamed my HTML file to index. I renamed it to index. And then what I did was I right-clicked on this. Said compress the zip file. I compressed it and I saved it here. So these 3 simple steps, I'll show you one more time, okay? First thing is that you have a folder. Inside of this folder, you have your HTML and CSS. If I open this up, you can see this is my website. HTML and CSS working. You can see this is the website over here. And you can see the name of this file. It's index.html. Like if I go to VS Code, I refresh, you can see this host website. Inside that, there's an index.html file. So this is our file. We're going to host this. And it has a starter.css as well. You can see it right here. Both of this, we have it in this folder. Now what we're going to do, we're going to click right. We're going to first select it, left click, then right click, compress the zip. And now we're going to save this. So this is a zip file that we have. Okay, now we're going to host this. So you go to this website. Go to this website, please. You can see this screen. Look at my screen. It's the same looking screen, right? I hope it looks the same for you. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on this icon over here. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to use my zip website to put it like this. And then you need to give access to your email. So I'm going to give access to my email. I'm going to stop sharing. Or you know what? Wait 1 second. You just write your email down here. An email you have access to, okay? And once you press upload, they're going to upload it. And you have to verify your email to make it live. So you just go to your email and then you verify it. So that's how you do it. Now I'm going to put my real email. I'm going to verify it once more. 1 second. So now I've verified. I get an OTP. I enter the OTP and now I see this website over here. If I click on this, now you can see that this is the website I've made and it's now live. I hope you can see that. It's live. And if I want, I can always update this. I can put this file over here. I can update it again. And now it's going to say it's live again. If I click on view site, you can see it's working. I hope this is working for you too. Please tell me if it's not working for you. This is how our website looks. Is this working for all of you? Now, if you go to this site, if you go to this site, you'll see my website like this. This website's hosted here. So you can always share with your friends. You can share that you've created this and you can show this basically. Did it work for everyone? Wait, so Pragati, can you just share a link for your website as well? I just wanted to see if it's online and it's running. It should look, a link should look like this. Link looks like this for mine. If you have your website, if it's live, you can just share the link and we can see it once. You can see how it looks. You have a doubt? Please unmute, Arush. Please ask it.
Yes, so my doubt was that what is the purple thing at the bottom?
This purple thing, oh, it's just from the website. It's just the, what do you call it? Like a copyright claim. Like if you click on this, then you just go to the website. So it's just making sure the website's making sure that you can see that who is hosting it.
Oh, okay, thanks.
So basically what you should have is you should have, you go to the tinyurl website. It's called tiny.host. You'll have a link over here and you can see how many times it's been shown as well. Visitors and everything, you have to upgrade. But this is our website over here, like this. And now if you share this to your friends or to your grandparents or everything, they can see it. They can just type this in the URL and they can see this website. So now if it's working for everyone, we can just continue with the quiz. If you want to do a quiz right now. So do we continue with the quiz? I made a quiz for you guys. Like the second day, like a quiz we made on the second day. A small timer quiz. If everyone's ready, we can start. Just 1 second, I'm starting the quiz. So I want everyone to use this to join. Use this code. Go to quizzes.com/join. Go to this website and enter the code. Enter the code above. So we can do that now. Okay, I see one person's in. I'll just wait 2 minutes and then I'll start it. Perfect. There's 10 people. Please join. We'll start in a minute. I think there's like 5 or 6 people missing. If you want to join, please join now. I'll start it at 12:10. I hope you can see my screen. This is a quiz going to be on HTML and CSS, everything we've covered, including Bootstrap as well. And if you want, you can just Google the answer. Like you can Google the question, you can search for the answer, because this quiz is not, it's not to see how much you remember, okay? Because the goal is not to remember everything. The goal is to know what I'm asking, and the goal is to understand what I'm asking. So if you want, you can just Google the question, you can search for the answer, but the important thing for you is to understand what's happening. And it's not a race either. So you can take 30 seconds. There's 35 seconds for each question. Just take your time and go slow and get all the answers. So that's the main thing I want to show. And I'm starting it now. 3, 2, 1, start. Right? It's the first question. Perfect. 9 people get it right. If you have any doubts, just Google the answer. A lot of people getting it right. That's great to see. Your sus is winning. Just waiting for the last few. Everyone else is done almost. I'll just end it in a minute. But perfect. So I think, let's see, who won? Anish, you won, and Arahan again. So congratulations, all of you. And congratulations, thank you for participating. You can see the questions you've done wrong, and there's answers given as well.